Welcome to the Hustle and Heart podcast, Hammad. When I first found out that you were coming on as our guest, I was extremely excited. And also just to show my gratitude to you. If it weren't for you, honestly, I don't think I'd be sitting in this chair today. You have literally pushed me to get into some uncomfortable situations, but it's been to my advantage. So thank you for that. The Hustle and Heart podcast is about inspiring business owners, helping entrepreneurs to learn, grow, learn from people like yourself, looking at the hard times and the challenges that you face. And hopefully that will encourage other business owners to do the same. So let's just start with your journey. When I look at your credentials, it's just mesmerizing. You've worked in 10 different countries. You have set up a women's chamber of commerce in Papua New Guinea. You have started your entrepreneur journey at the age of 55. No age shaming here, but and then you have recently started the first ever, or co-founded the first ever Canada Startup Association for startup businesses. You are known as the LinkedIn guru, with over 89,000 followers. I mean, I think we could use up the whole hour just talking about your credentials and your accomplishments. So, well done, an amazing job. So let's hear from you and talk about the early days. What led you to where you are today? What were some of the challenges that you faced? What were some of the drawbacks? How did you fall and how did you get back up again?
So Doreen, first of all, thank you very much for inviting me. This is not an opportunity for me to share what I have done in my life.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's an opportunity to learn from you also and talk to you face to face. This is kind of an opportunity that will help others learn few things, get inspiration, and like you said, become a little bit uncomfortable. And I think this is what I did throughout my life. I never got trapped into the comfort zone.
Mm-hmm.
I kept challenging myself. I mean, I don't know how far I do have to go to start, because I am now 61. So, there's 61 years behind me. I belong to a very, very humble family. I'm the eldest in the family as well, South Asian, Pakistani. The situation in that part of the world was different. It's still pretty different, right? So as an eldest son in the family, there was a lot of responsibilities on my shoulders. And I was never a good student in my life because, textbooks never inspired me.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever I had a chance to learn something from books, there were other books, like, maybe a little bit of fiction, maybe a little bit of other stuff. Never had enough money in my pocket to buy books. So I have a friend, a very dear friend of mine, Zishan, who was a rich guy, right? He was, to my standard. And he would have enough money to buy books.
Mm-hmm.
So, and he was a book reader, like a big way book reader. So he would buy the book, he would read the book, and then I'll take it from him and then I would read it. So again, the point is that I needed something, and I had to put myself in an uncomfortable zone to make an effort, right? I didn't have money, but I found someone who had money, and he was a book reader, and I would take that book from him.
Mm-hmm.
So I kept learning new things. I studied in Urdu medium school, government Urdu medium school. The standards, those who are from that part of the world, standards are pretty bad, still are. But what I realized when I was in my high school, that if I have to grow and do more in my life, the best possibility is to learn English. Because that's the language for communication, global communication, language for business. And the books that are available in English language there's no comparison. You can't actually translate word by word an English book into Urdu book because of the dialect and the way people express things. So I started learning English, and once you are inquisitive enough, you get coached as well. So I was someone actually told me that if you really want to learn a language, you have to listen that language. Your ears will help you learn that language, not by reading, not only by reading. And the explanation is very simple. You're born in a Tamil family, you learn Tamil first, right? If you're born in a Maiman family, you learn Maiman language first, because you're listening to that language. Nobody's teaching you that language. And I picked that up. I started watching English movies a little bit. I would not understand anything, but I would still watch. Challenge myself to learn, and also English music to tune my ears. So that's the beginning. I said, okay, I need to put myself in a very challenging position to learn a language that I don't know.
That's really good advice. As you were talking about that, I'm currently taking Duolingo, learning French, and I think I've accumulated about 500 some odd days. But I'm still having difficulty grasping onto it. But I think that's really good advice. I should start watching French movies or French TV just to kind of get my ears tuned to the language. But, going back to, your early days and the struggles, I have to say that, I've met many people in my life. I've worked with many people in my life. But you have got to be one of the most positive people I have ever met. Especially compared to me. If things go bad for me, I kind of tend to go bad with it, until I pick myself up again. And it's usually you who picks up the phone and says, okay, Doreen, that's enough. Get out of that hole that you're in and push forward. And we all need that sort of champion behind us. We need that cheerleader. Some of us don't have that mechanism in us to just pick ourselves up and go forward. And when you think about the entrepreneurial journey, it's very different to a corporate life. I've worked in corporate for about over 20 years, 25 years. It's different. When you own your own business, when you are hustling for yourself, you have to be the person in the front. You have to be the person with a smile on your face so that, your brand is shining for other people to come and either work with you, buy from you, and collaborate with you, whatever the case may be. So what is something, do you think you were born with this gift, or is it something that you've learned along the way?
I think learning is what I always loved, and learning the practical stuff. It's very difficult for me to understand a physics formula of some sort, right? A description of something, if it is written, then it's very difficult for me to learn. But if I know that if I mix chemical A with chemical B, and it's going to produce a result of change in color or something like that. So I'm a visual learner. And I'm a practical learner. So when I do something, I'll learn it. And learning does not mean that you are successful. You're always successful.
Right.
I just want to clarify that. I think failure is part of our process, of a learning process. And when you fail, you learn more. So I failed a lot. I still keep failing on doing things. But that doesn't stop me. My thinking is, okay, if I failed, I need to figure out why I failed. And when I figure that out, then of course, either I would continue and I improve on things, or I just stop. It's okay, this is something that I shouldn't be doing. This is not for me.
Right.
And I would stop and I move on and do something else. And that's very important for all of us to remember. Don't put yourself in a difficult situation. Uncomfortable does not mean difficult. That's one thing. The other thing is, improve your psychology. And how do you improve your psychology? By using words that are not too negative. I mean, negativity does not go out of your life. It is part of your life as well, like failures. But I would use, you use the word difficult times. I would use the word challenging times. And it actually changes the whole conversation. Difficult means you're difficult. Challenging means, I want to do it. It's like a sports person, a runner going into the sprint. You would still, there would be a smarter runner, more stronger runner who would win.
Mm-hmm.
But you being in the ground is a proof that you want to win. It's really important. So
Right.
be there. Skin in the game is kind of a thing, the phrase that
Right.
everybody uses.
Right.
Put that skin in the game. Be on the floor, and if you're not on the floor, you will only watch the dance. You're not going to dance.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want to grow and do better in your life, you have to be on the floor and dance.
That's very true. Learn by doing, right?
Absolutely.
And I think you're right. I mean, failure is what defines us. It shapes us. It moves us, and it opens doors as well. When I look back at my career, if you were to speak with me, even 10 years ago, I would never in my wildest dreams have thought I'd be sitting in a chair here speaking with you and doing a podcast or being a career coach, and coaching other people to be the best versions of themselves in terms of their job search, And when I encounter, most of my clients, I would say, I'm not just doing a resume or I'm not just doing an interview coaching session. I'm really building the confidence of that person in front of me. And I think this is what people are lacking a lot today, especially entrepreneurs, people who are not even jumping into the entrepreneurial lake yet. They're standing on the shore thinking, should I, shouldn't I, can I not? But until they take that first step and dip their toe into the water, they don't know what they're made of, and they don't know how great it can be until they take a chance. There's nothing like a Timmy's coffee. Yes, that's not a paid ad. But what I'm here to tell you is that storytelling is important for your business growth. And if you have not considered storytelling before, or maybe you're not even aware of how to tell your story as a small business owner, then you need to talk to me. I will fill you in on all the great reasons why you should incorporate storytelling into your marketing, into your networking events, your onboarding of your clients. It's just so powerful, and big brands are using this. And you don't have to be a big brand right now, but you will be if you use storytelling to sell your business. If you want to learn more, come talk to me. I'm looking forward to hearing from you. So when you first started your LinkedIn journey, what made you choose LinkedIn? And you only started a couple of years ago, and you've now built yourself up to over 89,000 followers globally. That's a pretty tremendous achievement. I want you to talk about the why did you start it and what's happening now? Like, who are some of your clients and what are you doing for people?
Before I respond to this question, you mentioned the journey that you take your clients
Yes.
through, building the confidence and giving them the reassurance that they can do it. And I'm a witness to that, like with many, but particularly when my daughter, Bushra, was struggling with her job interviews and things, and she's already failed 2 interviews, and she's a licensed professional. And I pushed her to speak to you, and within two conversations, she was a different person altogether. She got a job, she got a contract job, then she became permanent in the same position because there was another job opened up. Yeah. She interviewed, and she tells me what actually you told her, right? She's kind of carrying your torch as well. So the point is that a lot of times we as human do not have enough courage to do something new.
Oh, we're afraid of failure. Yes.
Because we are afraid of failure, we don't want to start. And if we don't start, nothing is going to happen, right? So, and there's always risk. I tell people, okay, can you drive? This is one of my questions. A lot of people drive, right? I said, what is the chances of you, God forbid, getting into an accident when you drive on the street? And you drive every day, right?
Right.
And usually people say, hardly any chance. But driving is risky, right? You travel in an airplane, the chances of airplane go missing or a crash is there, right? But how many times it happens? So people get worried about things that are never going to happen, right? And I never did that. I would jump on and see how far can I go, and if I can't, right, I just retreat. Okay, there's something that I probably am not fit for. So I started using LinkedIn somewhere around 2010, 2012. I mean, I had a profile, but I never used it as much. But somehow I really liked the tool. Now, LinkedIn at that point in time, until 2020, was not as complicated as it is now. It was a plain networking platform where people would go search for jobs to prepare their profile. Recruiters come, if their profile is done well, they would get an interview. And that's basically it. In COVID, LinkedIn actually started picking up from around like 5 million users to 1.2 billion users now. And it has become the only best professional networking platform globally. Now, because I was using LinkedIn and I was helping people understand how LinkedIn works, whatever I learned, I would just coach them. When I was coming back to Canada in 2019, I thought, okay, I'm not going to, I had worked enough in my life, 9 to 5 corporate job. Okay, yeah, I made money, that's fine. But I worked hard as well. I spent a lot of time in doing that. Now, this is a chance for me to restart. I had a contract which was ending with the US Chamber of Commerce on 31st of March 2020. COVID had already started, if you all remember that. And I said, okay, this point on, I am a coach. I want to brand myself as a coach. And my degree is in economics. So, previously people wouldn't know me as an economist or development economist.
Right.
So I had to completely change my brand perception, right? Completely rewrite the whole narrative around me. So I said, okay, what is one problem that I can solve which will help me make money? Very simple, right? So I said, okay, Canada is a country where a lot of immigrants come in, approximately 500,000 every year. And seeing the profile, they all struggle, they can't find jobs, or they, even regardless of whatever senior position they had served on. And now they are in a new country, new environment. The tool they would need is LinkedIn. Very simple. At that point in time, there were not enough LinkedIn coaches as well. Canada was very dry. Like there were coaches in India, I know there were a lot of coaches in the US, few in Europe as well, but Canada was pretty much dry. So I said, okay, Hammad, you are a LinkedIn coach. So I started calling myself a LinkedIn coach. Right. And this is how I branded myself. And this is how I started like helping people learn through my content. So I would do a piece of content every day. And for the past 6 years, I have done zillions of pieces of content every day. Yes, at times I do twice a day as well.
Right.
Because I love content writing. I love content creation, whether it's a video, other creative content or text content. Now, your question, how from whatever I was, so when I started, I was about 4,000 or 5,000 followers. Now I've just crossed 89,000. And it's just that, I've been adding value to people's life through my content. So I'm coaching, helping them learn something. And that brings me visibility. And the visibility is the first thing or the first step when you become a coach or a consultant or a mentor. It's not easy to get money out of people's pocket. So you have to be out there and be seen. And this is what I do.
Right. And you're very good at it. From even posting a picture of you drinking a Tim Hortons coffee to having your cat, in your home, sitting on your lap, to some very serious discussions when you're wearing a 3-piece suit with some, government officials. People are drawn to your personality. They're drawn to the content. And it kind of makes me realize that people want to see the real you. A lot of times people will put on a facade and they'll come onto the camera or they'll only talk about one thing. And this is something that you are teaching me as well is, be yourself, attract people to you. Now, seeing as this is Hustle and Heart and we're talking about entrepreneurship, a lot of people use the LinkedIn platform because they're looking for a job. What advice would you give to a business owner as to how and why they should use LinkedIn?
Now, I'll just rephrase it a little.
Sure. Okay.
I think we have to have social footprint.
Mm-hmm.
Now things have changed. Like people are buying things, or getting onto a bus or going to a place only if somebody else tells them to.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that you go to a shop, you buy your dress. The opportunities are many.
Mm-hmm.
So as the products. So the chance of if people are seeing you and you have built that trust and credibility, they will buy, the potential of them buying from you is much more higher.
Mm-hmm.
So you beat your competition if you have a decent enough social footprint. When somebody searches for a LinkedIn coach
Mm-hmm.
and my profile appears, I have a decent enough social footprint.
Right.
And this is really important, creating a social footprint. Now, I work through Canada Startup Association with a lot of founders.
Mm-hmm.
And founders are always looking for money.
Mm-hmm.
They need to raise money. Now, if people don't trust you, then they're not.
Not going to invest in you. Yes.
Rephrase it. If they don't really know, they're not going to invest in your product or service. Time of this idea thing, I've got the best idea of this within particular industry or whatever, it's gone.
Mm-hmm.
If you actually look deeper down, somebody else would have done it already.
True.
So the idea bank is just an old thing.
Mm-hmm.
Your idea, how practical it is, and how many people know you is more important.
Mm-hmm.
So your social footprint actually puts you in front of rest of the crowd. I mean, you're at the top of the pyramid where people could actually see you.
Mm-hmm.
And once they keep seeing you for a longer period of time, when you talk to them, the conversation is very different, right? You're not selling them anything. You already have built that trust,
Mm-hmm.
and that actually really helps. So any business owner, I think the beauty of LinkedIn is the B2B and the lead generation capacity. And people don't explore it. I think more than 90% LinkedIn users don't know the power of LinkedIn, and they burn their money on meta ads and other things. I don't say that these are tools are not I don't say these tools are unproductive.
Mm-hmm.
These tools are productive as well. But talking about LinkedIn, you're directly talking to you. So if I have to talk to you, if I have to attract you towards a business, or I know that you want to buy this, or maybe you have a chance of buying this, I can actually talk to you on an almost one-on-one basis.
Right.
So lead generation, B2B, B2C, C2C, this is what LinkedIn is all about.
Mm-hmm.
If somebody is using it only for job search, you are actually underutilizing the power of LinkedIn. And a lot of people are not really serious as well.
Mm-hmm.
They don't. If we are talking about immigrants, they come here, they spend a lot of money. Students come here, they spend like $30,000-$40,000 into their university. But you come to a point where you have to spend another $1,000 in learning LinkedIn and getting it optimized so that you are in front of people. They don't.
Right.
So that's where they really need to kind of understand that LinkedIn is the best networking platform, and networking is the starting point of building net worth for yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. And what people tend to forget as well is like LinkedIn is a global platform.
Yep.
It has, 1 billion, over
1.2 billion
users and growing. So the opportunities are endless. You're not just looking at, in Canada or in your city or in your community. Now you could probably get opportunities to either work with or collaborate with or work in organizations, if you will, anywhere.
Absolutely.
And again, like you say, it's who you are, and people will only want to work with you. People will only want to do business with you if they trust you. So how do you build trust? And this is a lesson that you've learned. It's a lesson that I'm learning. It takes a while. It's a long-term game. It's not short-term by any means. And it does take a lot of hustle, and it does take a lot of heart to stay in that arena. But the rewards are I think it's tenfold, if you ask me. Having worked in a corporate environment to where we are now, there's nothing like your own flexibility. You know, you decide what time you want to wake up. You decide how many clients you want to see in a day. If you want to just go out and take a week off or whatever the case may be, you are in control. You are the driver of your own bus, so to speak. So let's talk a little bit about, if I were to ask you to go back into your mind, into your memory, I love doing this because memories is also another passion of mine. As you know, I write stories for people. What would you say, if you can't say it for yourself, maybe you can pick a client that you've worked with. What was the toughest part of whatever the situation is? And how did you overcome that challenge, or how did you help your client overcome that challenge, and what did it result in?
So that's a nice one, actually. So I used to mentor a young fellow back in Pakistan, and once in a while he would come to me and we would go out and either have lunch together or tea together, and he would ask me questions. Mm-hmm. And I would respond to his question, like a very informal chat.
Right.
And this is the exact question he asked me long time ago. He said, Hammad Saab, so Saab is in Urdu is like paying respect, Mr. Hammad. So Saab, Hammad Saab, what was the time when you actually really struggled? Things were very difficult. Mm-hmm. And that made me think. I said, I can't really respond to you straight away. Let's keep driving. Let's go to the place where we were going, and then I'll respond to you. And honestly speaking, Doreen, I could not find any time in my life which I would regret, or I would say, okay, I'm ungrateful, or I didn't want it, or something like that. Mm-hmm. Anything negative. Because I am a believer, if I've eaten, mm-hmm. if I'm not hungry, if I can feed my family, I have enough fuel in my car to drive around, and if I've got enough money in my pocket to pay my bills, I think I'm doing okay. Mm-hmm. So I don't want to compare myself with people who are driving Tacomas and GMCs of this world or traveling business class. The point is that I think what we do, we try to compare ourselves with other people. Mm. And that's a bad thing to do. That's, you're wasting your time, your mental capacity in comparison. Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm a content creator. Alex Hormozi is a much bigger, he's a mighty content creator.
Right.
Alex Hormozi started his YouTube channel in 1998. I started my YouTube channel in 1998 as well. But look where Alex Hormozi is. I'm nowhere. Mm-hmm. The point I wanted to make is I cannot compare myself with Alex. He has spent time, energy, efforts, money into building what he has built. Mm. So in my case, I don't have an answer. I think we have to get out of our very fixed mindset of competition and worries and stuff like that, into actually practically implementing things. If I can't do something, I would learn. If I can't learn, I will outsource. Mm. If I have to get something done, I will get it done. That's the main thing, My message here, or my response to your question is, touch wood, I never had a difficult time in my life. Mm. Because enough food, enough money in my pocket to survive, feeding my family, kids going to school. What else do you? I think that if we are meeting that, then that's okay. You are okay.
Right.
If you are not meeting that, then there's a problem.
Yeah. You're right. I recently had a conversation with someone, and I had never really thought about this answer before until she asked me this question. We always look at ourselves as not being successful. Yeah. Or not being as successful as somebody else. And that's what you mean by don't compare yourself to somebody else, right? We're all successful in our own way, in our own little world. Yeah. Whether it's having the flexibility, is like you say, having food, on your table, looking after your family, paying your bills. Hey, that's success to some people who don't have it, you know? So I think when we talk about success, we really have to define, what does success mean to me? What does success mean to you? It's a different yardstick to measure for everybody else. That's a really, really important thing. And I think if I were to impart a message to, any business owner, especially a business owner or an entrepreneur, everyone wants to do it because they think success is going to be amazing. They're going to be in the limelight. They're going to have money to hire a chauffeur or have a fancy house. But maybe that'll come in time. But there's a time and a place. It doesn't happen overnight. It takes a lot of grit and determination. You mentioned something just now about mentality. And I think that is key. It's so important when we look at what's going on in our society, what's going on when we think about the future. Where do we want to go? I know you and I have talked about the Canadian mentality a lot. What makes Canadians so different than people in the US or people in Asia or people in South Asia or UK? We talk a lot about the Canadian mindset is slow to act. Canadians in general don't typically want to jump in and say, yeah, let's do this. Let's build this business. Let's do it. The US, however, have that get her done mentality. It's like, yeah, okay, sounds great. Let's do it. And they jump in with all their heart and zeal and zest to do it. And this is where what you're doing with the Canada Startup Association comes into play. Is like, how are you getting that message out there to business owners? When you look at startup businesses, there's a lot of fear, there's a lot of failure, there's a lot of risk associated with it. Let's talk a little bit about mentality there, the Canadian mindset, and why Canada Startup Association is setting the ground level for people to succeed.
Yeah, so I think in my own experience, Canada is highly competitive and highly non-collaborative. And that's a problem. And not trusting the other people, not believing in other people's views. You keep quiet, and you listen to someone, you keep quiet, doesn't mean that you believe in that person as well. Now, why there are more startups, more successful businesses in the US? Because they take risk. Why a lot of Canadian startups build their startup here, and then they incorporate in the US and try to raise money in the US. Because, people are there to, willing to take that risk and putting in $500,000 into your business and see if it works out. So this is an issue, right? This is a serious issue. The other challenge, as I said, lack of collaboration. Like, everybody talks about inclusion and stuff like that. But to be very honest, there is a lack of it.
All right.
And because within the startup ecosystem, I will only talk about startup ecosystem because that's the question that you put to me, is that all these ecosystem players who get grant from the government, that grant actually make them, try to protect their boundaries. Because if they collaborate more, somebody else is going to share that piece of grant as well. Now, whether they're doing good or bad, I've worked in development sector for many years. I know we can actually create a report which would actually look good even the project failed. I know that. It's the way you present it. So, and of course the size of the country, like look at the size. If, like, I was talking to someone in Saskatchewan the other day, ecosystem player there, but he doesn't know much about ecosystem here in GTA, which is the biggest ecosystem. And then you have Vancouver. So Vancouver and GTA are okay. So the idea with Canada Startup Association was build a platform which is neutral, apolitical, and it's a countrywide or nationwide platform. And it's a collaborative platform. And we always say we are not going to compete with anyone. We want to bring everyone together. So the economy grows. We are a very small economy. Just think about it. Our economy is smaller than Michigan state economy.
Wow.
And look at, like, we are about 40 million people approximately. Yeah. And actually, we actually went from 30 million to 40 million only in the past, 8-9 years, 10 years. So we are a very small economy. And we have handful of unicorns, the companies, like billion-dollar companies. If we want to create more unicorns, we have to expand our reach to other countries. I was in Dubai, I went for GITEX Expand North Star. And so I heard this story, and I knew about it, but I heard it from the horse's mouth, as we say.
Right.
Kareem, which is the Uber of Middle East, they became a unicorn only when, so they actually originated from Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia's population is almost what our population is in Canada. But when they wanted to become a unicorn, they had to start an operation in Pakistan, which was a huge country, is a huge country. So they could expand and make more money and bring in more revenue to make it a unicorn. Now, where I'm coming to is that we have to expand our outreach. We need to look beyond the US market because of things that are going not so well with the relationship and everything.
Right.
So the beyond US markets are not Europe. It's the Middle East and the Asian market where there is money available. So we knew it because of our relationship, roots, connections there. And this is what we are doing. We are at Canada Startup Association. We are helping these startups understand how they can do more trade, become partners with opportunities or people who are kind of offering those opportunities in the Middle East.
Right.
It's not easy, and had it been easy, somebody had done it already, right? It's not easy.
Right.
But just think about it. In 24, our trade mission to Dubai was only 7 companies. And last year it was 22 companies.
Wow. So it's growing.
It's growing, and the voice is going out. People are asking questions.
Right.
So again, if we are not on the dance floor, who's going to dance? Somebody else will.
Yeah.
Right.
I wanted to take this minute to give a shout out to Temina Chowdhury.
Yeah.
She is the founder of the Canada Startup Association. She's a woman. She wears a hijab. She's from, a different country. She's not from Canada. But she's fearless. Yeah. When I look at her, I really hold her in such high regard. She's an awesome person, and just watching her being so humble, but in her heart, she's fearless, and she doesn't take no for an answer. She keeps going. If she can't build it here, she will take it somewhere else and build it there, and eventually circle back again. And this is what everybody should be aiming to do, is having that fearlessness in them to grow, to learn, to fail, to fall. I'm sure she's experienced a lot of that as well, but she's not stopping, and she keeps going,
Absolutely.
and this is what we're trying to impart and to inspire through this podcast of Hustle and Heart. Is if you're a business owner and entrepreneur, yes, there's fear. Yes, there's risk. You will fall, but when you get back up again, the sky is the limit, really. So what's next for you, Hammad? Like, is there anything on your radar right now, or are you kind of just happy to be where you are?
So when I started my e-learning business, so I've got more than 6,000 students across the globe learning from my e-learning programs. The idea was to keep adding more programs into it. And the ambition is to take it to a level whereby, technically speaking, all my expenses are covered through my e-learning program. So that's the immediate kind of a thing. Immediate means, maybe in the next 2 to 3 years.
Right.
Because there's competition, there are things that are holding me back. If something requires a lot of financing, a lot of experimenting and burning cash. So I'm slowly building it up, reaching to us or crossing 6,000 students level across the globe is also not an easy thing. The other thing what I did, and I found it just for the interest of our audience, is that how do you find your niche? So I speak Urdu. I speak Urdu, which is very similar to Hindi, and I was my first e-learning course was a LinkedIn training program, pre-recorded on demand. A lot of people who were taking that course were Urdu speaking or Hindi speaking. And I challenged myself to record the whole course in Urdu. So if that's my market, I should speak their language. And that course is the cash cow for me for this point in time. My group coaching program that I do it. A lot of people come to me, okay, they don't speak Urdu. I said, fine. Maybe in 26, I'll do a couple of programs in English as well. But at this point in time, a lot of people who come to me are Urdu speakers. So I do a program for them. So that's the plan. Of course, Canada Startup Association is growing and new things are unfolding for us. So that's an opportunity that I'm actually working on. And I would actually like to thank you also being part of that journey with the Aghaz Summit that we have in every September we do. And you contribute a lot and you manage the chaos, I would say, at the stage as the moderator. So I think I'm just enjoying my life, and believe me, for everyone who is out there and who wants to really make a lot of money, make a lot of money, but that money does not guarantee that you are enjoying your life as well.
True.
So make enough to enjoy your life, because you only live once.
That's a great message, honestly. And, it's probably a good place to end here without going too much into things. But if you were to leave an imparting message or a thought besides, enjoy your life, based on your career journey and your struggles and your challenges and where you are today, what is one piece of advice that you would give to any business owner who's listening to this podcast today?
Don't be cheeky. Don't be cheeky.
Okay.
I mean, be truthful. If something is wrong, say it's wrong. It's I can't do it. Accept your mistakes, and provide value to your customer. Don't be cheeky. If you think that your customer is going to pay you for something which is not right, maybe, I don't know how to phrase it, but something that you're just selling that person because you need that money,
right.
That's cheeky. If somebody doesn't buy your thing and you're not being cheeky, you're actually building trust. And say no at times as well. I mean, I have said no to clients who came to me and said, do our training program, optimize our LinkedIn profile because you want to come to Canada. And our whatever lawyer or consultant said that if you do that and you find an job opportunity, then it will become easier. I would say no. I have said no to so many people. I said, it's not going to work that way. You're sitting in Saudi or UAE or Oman or India or Pakistan, you're looking for a job in Canada, it's not going to work that way. So somebody has done the cheeky stuff before.
Right.
And got that money out of their pockets. I only build trust. So build trust and credibility, money will follow.
Thank you so much, Hammad,
Thank
for being
you for
an
inviting me.
incredible
Such a
guest
pleasure.
today.
Thank you very much.